Hey, Brittany. I just got finished watching your video for the STD or STI post, discussion post for this week. Um, I think you did a really good job laying out exactly what you were discussing about gonorrhea and the prevalence. I think you did a really good job of making sure to emphasize the causes of the increased prevalence in the college population versus the um, gay male population, if that's the word I'm looking for. Um, I learned from your discussion post that gonorrhea can be um, transmitted through oral sex in the pharyngeal or throat, and that it can be very hard to detect in the throat because it can be asymptomatic most of the time. I'm sure it probably is. I can only imagine how many people have gonorrhea in the throat and they they don't know about it. I think it's um, probably something that should be talked about and discussed more with uh, people, especially young people or single people or people who are very free sexually with their bodies. Anyway, um, I liked that you brought up the fact that it is a large, that's a very high number for 50% or over half of the newly diagnosed people with gonorrhea to be college students from the age of 18 to 25 is crazy. That's like a large amount. And I was not expecting that. It's not because I don't think that people in college have lots of sex, because I do recognize and know that. It's just that um, for colleges, most campuses have clinics available. Um, they have health studies available. They have posters and ads, and they have all types of resources for people to go get tested, for people to not feel ashamed to be able to go and be tested and screened for these types of diseases. Plus, so many people in the college communities, they discuss these things openly, even if it's has something to do with one person that's messing around with another person. It's usually discussed. It's usually found out because college campuses, they all communicate with each other. And so the fact that it spreads that much, it's alarming. It's very eye-opening. And another thing that you said was their lack of um, perception about their ability to contract these diseases like gonorrhea might be playing a role. Like, they just don't realize just how easy and how prevalent it is on the college campuses. That's more than likely a very strong and that's probably a very strong component of the lack of getting tested. I think stigmas also play a big role in why people don't get tested. I think people just assume that this mess is just going to go away on its own, and it is not. Actually leaves you more vulnerable to getting more STDs on top of the one that you have that is curable. Um, I like that you pointed out that for the gay males that's having male to male sex, that is harder to detect, which would make it harder to treat or even know that they need treatment, which would allow for it to continue to spread. Um, I think that out of all the things in your discussion post, um, the most important thing that I learned is that people do need to be educated on the possibility of spreading gonorrhea in the throat. I think that's like the main thing that I learned. You mentioned the lack of condom use. I agree. People don't use condoms anymore like they used to. You mentioned the just lack of just common perception of being uninfectable. I guess that's what you would say, or what you could say. And I think as far as both college students and gay males, that people don't want to have the stigma attached to them of have had a STD, so they just choose not to get tested, which is really sad. Another thing that you mentioned was pregnant women and their ability to pass on the disease and cause blindness in their newborns. That's very important for females to understand, and I just don't feel like it gets talked about enough. Most STDs can cause major problems in newborns. But yeah, you did great.